Hi, my name's Charlie Etheridge-Nunn, and my destiny is to take my brain pills, which I've forgotten to do so far, the moment this video is done. So, today's RPG a day, word of the day, is destiny, and it's a tricky one in RPGs, especially the longer term ones, which seem to be a kind of perpetual Act 2 kind of thing, where like a lot of traditional fantasy ones tend to end when you sort of stamina out almost. When in my case, my attention span wanes and I move on to the next game, or the group inevitably deteriorates to scheduling problems, anything like that. That's the unfortunate destiny. Now, D&D 4th edition did something which actually impressed me. Yes, I am once again handing it to D&D 4th edition, and this is the um, kind of see in an indie RPG, you'd say the moves, but yeah, the kind of event that happens when you hit max level, and they were each kind of retirement moves, and I've not seen that in an RPG, especially a trad RPG like that. Sometimes in things like the very unofficial Star Wars world, you would see death moves, and that was taken on in other PBTA style games. But that idea of going, oh, yeah, I'm a level 30 druid, and now I get a grove, or I'm a cleric and I become some kind of aspect of a deity, or things like that. And it's just, it's a neat way of closing things out for your character and having something that you're driving towards. Now, one of the more fun ones that I've seen in recent years is actually from Heart, the City Beneath. And they have a kind of leveling system based on character beats. What you do in a session, if you do certain actions, which might be make a contact, it might be take a particular kind of damage. A junk mage who has relevant calling might go, oh yeah, actually I need to take some echo damage in order to fulfill this. And you get minor advancements, major advancements, and then finally Zenith advancements. And those are what I want to talk about today because I just, I love some of these ideas. They are an ability that more often than not closes out your character, but in the kind of way that when you do it, and the world knows. So here's an example from the Vermissian Knight. This is one of my favourite ones for pure destructiveness. The Last Train. You consume your power in a forbidden rite, etching ancient timetables onto the walls in the blood of angels, and lighting signal fires in colours not visible to the naked eye. You summon the last train to your position. The last train arrives at your current position by the most direct and destructive route, destroying destroying anything in its path. You are killed when this ability is used, crushed under the wheels of the train, riddled with strange energies, and cooked in your armor or burnt out from the occult strain. Now, that is a game changer. Obviously for your character, because they're dead, but my word, in what a way you're dead. Just bam, blown apart by a train. Okay, by an interdimensional train, no less. And like the last train is a thing in the world, both in Spire and in Heart. It's something where the Vermissian line that the knight takes his name from is a kind of interdimensional attempt at getting to places quicker. And it was filled with hubris, of course, and went awry, and the train vanished. The first one they set out never arrived, and now you've got this kind of interdimensional rail line and remnants of bits of station. And in Spire, you have the Vermissian Sage, who are scholars that use those spaces, and in Heart, you have the Vermissian Knights, who were originally supposed to be train wardens, and they've got like bits of train like a train door is a shield and things like that. It's very cool. So the idea of going, okay, I have been all about train, to have it explode forth means the campaign has changed in some way, because now the last train has arrived, but also you have obliterated something, like anything. And there are creatures that really need something massive to obliterate them. Another example from the deep apiarist, who is a kind of a beekeeper and hive in one. Like, you keep bees often inside yourself and control the swarm. And one of the Zenith moves they have here is Surrender to Chaos. A lifetime of carving order from disorder, and still the heart remains chaotic. You lost before you ever started. You give in, tragically and catastrophically. When you cast this spell, everything that is ordered around you flips to disorder. Buildings collapse, machinery overloads and malfunctions, disease runs rampant, language breaks down and fire crackles at the edges of your vision. You are unmade, inverted. Your bees are destroyed, and the heart arrives to greedily consume your essence. The heart itself spontaneously manifests in your current position. You are killed when this ability is used, crushed under the weight of impossible mathematics and ruinous vectors. Lines and angles no longer fully meet at the seams as raw nuclear chaos unfolds within you. After a few seconds of utter nightmare, the manifestation collapses, lapsing back into its natural state. Now, this is not the only way for a deep apiarist to have a Zenith move, and the Vermisian Knight that I spoke about a moment ago, again, that's not the guaranteed end of the character. There are other Zenith moves, and yes, more often than not, they will kill you, but you get to choose in the moment, at the time. You get this ability. You can go, right, I am picking Surrender to Chaos. Right, I am picking The Last Train. Like, for the Vermisian Knight, you also have End of the Line, where, again, um, you learn the location of a unique landmark, work out with the GM, and complete a delve. Once there, you cannot leave. Instead, you die in some tragic fashion, vow to protect it forever, or ascend to a pure state of electricity. The perpetual motion engine. Again, like years of heart's blood radiation and forbidden knowledge culminate in your ultimate work. An engine powered by a throbbing heartseed, a source of wild and limitless power. All of these things are interesting ways to close out your character. And you may not see them for everyone in the group, because you might not want to get to that level, or you might have one person Zenith move, obliterate a thing, and everyone else is like, whew, well, best go, I guess. And yeah, it's just a really interesting way to close out your character. One final one, actually, which I hadn't thought about until recording this, is the Silt Versus RPG. Now, again, I'm talking about a Carved from Brindlewood game, do a shot, but there's a thing on the back of each faith's character sheet. So you have your moves, you have your verses, you have your altar, all on the front, and you shouldn't look at the back. You can, but you shouldn't, as each one has the final prayer of your character, and each one does something where, when your character dies, something happens. So the example here is Saint Electric. If you're a worshipper of Saint Electric, then it causes a blackout. Your saint, radiant in her cage of blazing wire, opens her arms to welcome you home. You, her chosen herald, glow bright as the sun as you draw upon the network of her countless worshippers. Receiving the divine currents, you become a beacon for the faith electric. Narrate a scene that shows you channel the power of an entire city grid, causing an immediate blackout. What glorious sacrifices are made in her name in the aftermath? What transcendent new form do you take as you tower over the land, bright and terrible for all to see? Marvellous. If only we could all have such a fun destiny. Good day.